I cried my eyes out in the last episode. I bawled my eyes out in this episode. Everybody's back. Everything is back. There was so much going on in episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett that there is no time for introduction. We're just gonna go right into it. It's nice to see Boba Fett talking in the flashbacks because there are now 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett where Boba does not even talk at all. We have completely forgotten his voice, and the series has completely forgotten about him too, unfortunately. But it opens up on a moisture evaporator, panning down on the sands of Tatooine, of course, where we see 4 Pykes gathered together as they have collected payment. Right then and there, Cobb Vanth makes his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, something that we kind of expected, knowing that all the territories from Tatooine, now from the Pykes, will be endangered. Cobb wants to let them off with a warning. However, the Pykes do not agree. This is when Cobb shows off his shooting skills, kills 3 of them, and lets 1 live, wanting him to deliver a message to his bosses that Mos Pelgo is not for sale. Transporting spice through these territories is completely forbidden. To show that he is serious, he tells him that he will confiscate the box of spice, only proceeding to throw it all away in the end. So guys, the episode starts this way. We could have only imagined what's about to follow next. Not in my wildest dreams did I think I would see this in a Book of Boba Fett episode, but I really thought The Mandalorian Season 3 would be where we got to see Din Djarin meet up with Grogu again and Luke, but in fact it happened exactly here. In episode 6, Din Djarin lands on the foresty planet where Luke is training Grogu, and subsequently where Luke is building his new school, his new Jedi Order. The first one we see though is R2, scanning for who is coming. R2 though does not mingle with Din Djarin a lot. He takes him to the unfinished school and lets him sleep on a bench until Luke and Grogu are back from their training. So if you know anything about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they do not like to keep the fans waiting. This episode was this phrase exactly encompassed, because there was not a single moment to waste. Immediately after Din Djarin, we cut to Luke and Grogu up on a small hilltop, meditating together. Grogu is still as cute as ever, but this time if you take a closer look, Luke's face is much more refined. He looks much better than in Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. I think this is because Lucasfilm hired Shamook, a YouTuber who actually posted the deepfake of Luke Skywalker's cameo in The Mandalorian, and to everybody's surprise, he by himself made Luke Skywalker look much better than the crew who was working on Luke Skywalker's CGI face in the series. So this was shocking to everybody. That video has millions of views, and everybody was shocked when Shamook was hired by Lucasfilm to specifically work on that, and I think this is some of his work that we're seeing in this episode. As much as Luke wants him to be an adult though, Grogu is still a kid at heart. He uses the Force for personal gain. He grabs a frog that was passing by with the Force, trying to eat him, but Luke actually catches him in the act and kind of scolds him a bit. Grogu, now feeling guilty, continues meditating with Luke, knowing that there's a lesson in everything, because that's what Yoda taught him. We get a very beautiful and emotional Yoda-Luke moment where Luke is trying to lift the X-Wing and cannot do that, and Yoda, without skipping a beat, he grabs the entire X-Wing and pulls it out of the water. We get the exact moment with Grogu and Luke. Grogu could barely grab the frog, while Luke extends his hand, and out of the small pond, dozens of frogs come out, showing Grogu that using the Force means unlimited power. If you look at their faces, it's the exact dialogue from Empire Strikes Back. Grogu's face is saying, "I can't believe it," and Luke's face is saying, "That is why you fail." In this episode, I think Jon Favreau focused very much on Luke's Jedi training. How would he be as a Jedi Master? We never really got to see that. We only got to see Luke as a begrudging old man in The Last Jedi. Now though, we see as a young man what kind of a master he really was. And you see that Luke constantly takes Grogu to real-life examples. He does not want to talk too much. He really wants to show Grogu more than tell. As they're walking together, Luke actually lets Grogu know that he reminds him of his master Yoda. "He was small like you, but his heart was huge," says Luke. We realize that he is trying to gauge Grogu to tell him more about his home world, about Yoda's species more so. This is a very interesting moment because Luke offers Grogu a chance to remember using the Force as Luke puts his palm on Grogu's head. If anybody has kept up until this point, at this moment I realized that it was actually Luke who taught Ben Solo the Mind Probe Force trick. We see him use it for evil purposes in The Force Awakens. So here you can see the barriers of a Jedi Force power and a Sith Force power kind of disappear, because this Force trick was used for good when Luke used it on Grogu, but it was used for evil when Kylo Ren used it on Poe Dameron, for example. And yes, we not only got characters back, we got events back as well. Grogu was inside the Jedi Temple during Order 66. We see the 501st gunning down Jedi Padawans. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Vader in a glimpsey sort of way, but now we can actually confirm that Grogu was inside the temple and was witnessing what was happening. So who actually saved him is the big lingering question now. We really don't know what happened. Who saw Grogu laying there helpless and took on the mission to save him? Once Grogu is awake, it is at this moment that Luke makes a vow to Grogu that the galaxy is a dangerous place, but he will be the one to protect him. Interestingly, as soon as Luke says this, we cut to Mando, who is sleeping on the bench, waiting for Grogu and Luke to return. However, we have been led astray again by Jon Favreau, because right then, Mando turns around and sees none other than Ahsoka Tano. As I said, there's so much going on in this episode that it is really hard to make a review video about it, because we can stay here and talk about this episode until the wee hours of the morning. Another question answered: has Ahsoka ever met Luke, or has Luke ever met Ahsoka? That answer can finally be laid to rest. Yes, they have met each other, at least once that we know of. It was so nostalgic to hear Ahsoka say that she is an old friend of the family, of the Skywalker family, knowing that she was once Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, and now his son Luke is a Jedi Master teaching Grogu at this time. Also, Ahsoka saying Master Luke, that was beautiful too. But in either case, Ahsoka was the one to guide Din Djarin to the right path. You see, the right path might be Din Djarin actually not meeting with Grogu at this moment in time. Din Djarin asks, what is this place? And Ahsoka says that one day it will be a great school. We see in the comics, of course, that this is the place where Luke will restart the Jedi Order, and in actuality, Ben Solo will be his student together with a bunch of other kids that if you read the comics, you'll get much more acquainted with. The comics are called Rise of Kylo Ren. Leading Din Djarin through the forest, Ahsoka actually reminds Din Djarin that long ago he told him his attachment to Grogu will be difficult to let go, and that even though Din Djarin has a gift for Grogu, she asks him, are you doing this for him or for you? Which is a difficult question to answer for Din Djarin. He constantly says that Grogu is a Mandalorian foundling, and that it is his duty to protect him, to look over him, and to give him the gift. But Ahsoka has a different view. Now that he is with Luke, Grogu is no more a Mandalorian foundling. He is a Jedi Padawan. And if he wants what's best for Grogu, he will turn around and not see him right now, because Grogu misses him so much that it will cloud his vision. Actually beautifully put by Ahsoka. Something that Mando, I think, at this moment understands very, very well. He doesn't want to disrupt Grogu's life, Grogu's training, knowing that he is influenceable as well because he is practically a kid. He gives Ahsoka the gift to be given later to Grogu and simply leaves. As he is leaving, Grogu sees the ship. Although it's not the same ship, I think through the Force Grogu felt his presence. He knew that that was Din Djarin and that they could have seen each other, but ultimately he did not show up. Keep in mind that this moment will greatly influence his decision that he has to make at the ending of the episode, which we will talk about later on in the video. We know that Luke senses the presence of the Mandalorian, but he does not want to distract from the training. An awesome visual with Luke carrying Yoda in a backpack. Now Luke is carrying Grogu in a backpack. I laughed out loud when I saw this scene because it kind of means that Grogu, Yoda, it doesn't matter. They're all small in their species and they're all kind of like babies. Who could forget the jumping scene? Luke actually tries to train Grogu to jump. Grogu fails miserably, and we get another Yoda moment when Luke says, "Don't try, do," which of course translates to "do or do not." There is no try. Now Luke has his own version. Again, as I said previously, Luke is not a talkative Jedi Master. He wants to show you instead of constantly tell you. So what does he do? He immediately grabs Grogu, puts him in the backpack, and goes off force jumping around himself just in order to show practically to Grogu how it is done, and not just metaphorically. Basically, Luke is book smart, but he is street smart as well. While Grogu is trying to master his balance, the scene that precedes is bomb-ass. It is one of the best, greatest scenes you will ever see with Luke Skywalker. He ignites his lightsaber and starts his lightsaber training. It is glorious, it is beautiful, it is whatever you want to imagine it. You would think that training by yourself with a lightsaber won't be exciting until you see Luke Skywalker train with his, because I just hope we get another scene like Luke Skywalker versus the Dark Troopers in the finale season 2. A guy can wish, of course. An even bigger laughing moment came when Luke actually put a training droid down on the ground, and Grogu, thinking that it's a ball, he starts rolling it around. But that's not what they're there for. As Luke activates it and the training droid shoots a blaster that is so frightening, Grogu gets thrown to the ground. At that second though, he gets reminded of his training. He knows what Luke is talking about. He focuses on the Force, and once the training droid starts shooting again, we see Grogu force jump for the first time ever. It is very similar to how Yoda would jump around in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith. If you look at it closely, for those complaining that sooner or later Grogu will have to be CGI, well, Grogu was definitely CGI at some of these scenes when he was jumping. I think they have kind of mastered the puppet CGI version of Grogu, because he does not look like a slinky 3D model. He definitely looks like a puppet still, even though he is completely CGI, a 3D model. Interesting how they mix two worlds together there. While Grogu is jumping around, this is when Ahsoka approaches Luke, commenting that Luke has trained him well, but Luke has a different version. He tells Ahsoka that it's more like he's remembering than I'm actually teaching him anything, knowing full well that Grogu at one point in time was training in the Jedi Temple. Luke actually wants to talk about another thing. He knows that the Mandalorian was here. This is when Ahsoka shows him the gift that Mando left for Grogu. It is at this point that Luke is conflicted. He just doesn't know what to do with Grogu. He can feel that Grogu is conflicted. He misses Din Djarin so much, but he wants to be with his kind as well, with the Jedi. He just doesn't know if Grogu's heart is in it. These words echo to Ahsoka Tano, who knows that Anakin was the same way. And he actually tells Luke that you're so much like your father. A beautiful moment preceding with a very sad moment when Ahsoka leaves. Luke actually asks, will I ever see you again? Ahsoka responds with, perhaps. Quick reminder, of course, this is decades before The Force Awakens. So there are decades in between this moment here and the moment we see Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars sequels. So a lot could have happened in between then, although we still have no idea if they ever met again. It is time for Din Djarin to be back on Tatooine. He lands his Naboo starfighter inside Boba's hangar. Fennec Shan is basically telling everybody that the families, Mokshais, everybody has betrayed them to the Pyke Syndicate, and the Pyke Syndicate is moving on their territories. Again, I think that Boba Fett should have led this presentation, not Fennec Shan. Did you actually notice that Boba Fett did not speak in this episode? In this brief showcase of Boba Fett, which was close to a minute, I think, Boba Fett did not utter a single word. As everybody is panicking that the Pyke has moved on their territories, it is Din Djarin again who just strolls in and tells them that I can fix everything. Din is of course talking about Mos Pelgo and his dealings previously that he had with them. He actually travels to Mos Pelgo and has a run-in with one of the deputies there, but Cobb Vanth comes out to smooth things over. Din actually reminds Cobb Vanth that he lost his armor previously. In Cobb Vanth's mind, they have both lost something. He has lost the armor, while Din has lost Grogu. Having a few drinks, though, sadly, Cobb Vanth rejects the offer from Din Djarin. Din is offering them credits in exchange for protection, but both the bartender and Cobb Vanth tells him that ever since they slayed that dragon, they no longer want any trouble. They're at peace, but they are one and the same. They live on the same planet. Sooner or later, the Pyke Syndicate will start moving on their Pelgo's territory too, just as soon as they get Mos Espa and Mos Eisley. Oh, and by the way, it's no longer Mos Pelgo, it's Freetown. Kinda corny, but whatever. So they come to a compromise. Cobb Vanth tells Din Djarin that things are tough around here. He won't say yes, but he won't say no either at this time. He will gather the townfolk and discuss it with them. Who would have thought that this was the last time that Din Djarin and Cobb Vanth would have a conversation? Because of course, I've said this 5-6 times already, this episode had so much going on. It's crazy that I'm doing a review. This review will probably come out to 30-40 minutes because it's so filled up with a lot of Star Wars nostalgia, Star Wars goodness, whatever you want to call it. We have been pleading with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for years now, and we finally got Cad Bane in live action. Guys, everybody's back. Black Chrysanthemum is in live action. Cad Bane is in live action. Who's to tell that all the other bounty hunters won't be back? Now, to be fair, Cad Bane did want to let out Cobb Vanth with a warning, but Cobb Vanth wasn't backing down, and this is what Cad Bane was pretty much expecting. It is hinted, however, that Cobb Vanth might have beaten Cad Bane to the punch. The problem was, of course, the annoying deputy, trying to help Cobb Vanth, but instead he got him killed. Vanth was distracted with the deputy, and instead of focusing on Cad Bane, he slipped for a second. Cad Bane used the opportunity to first kill Cobb Vanth, and then shoot down the deputy as well, letting everybody else with a warning that this territory belongs to the Pykes. Following that scene, 2 Pykes enter the sanctuary, leaving a container there, exiting themselves, and unfortunately bombing the place altogether, killing everybody inside, including Garsa Whip. With blood and murder on the streets of Tatooine, we cut back to the final scene of this episode, and it was the moment I'm calling the choice, the ultimate choice. Inside the school of Luke Skywalker, Luke pulls out the gift from Mando to Grogu. Inside, Luke reveals that it is a chain link armor, similar to what Bilbo had. He lays it there on the cloth at Grogu's right side. On his left side, he presents him with Yoda's lightsaber. Before I go any further, my channel is called Star Wars Comics. Naturally, I know a lot about comics, believe me. Why did they retcon Yoda's lightsaber getting destroyed? I cannot understand. What I cannot understand even further is how will they justify it, because it was evident Yoda left the Senate chambers in a hurry after he lost his duel with Sidious. When he fell, his lightsaber fell as well on an unknown location. Did Yoda actually have time to go grab his lightsaber and then escape with Bail Organa as fast as he could? The comics show a different tale. In fact, it is the first issue of the Darth Vader Comics 2017 series. The first issue shows Mas Amedda in the town square, featuring thousands of Coruscanti people gathered together, and in a showcase of strength, Mas Amedda gathers many lightsabers that were collected from the Jedi traders, and one of those lightsabers was none other than Yoda's lightsaber that the Imperials took from the Senate chambers, where Yoda actually lost his lightsaber. So in the comics, Yoda's lightsaber is destroyed. How Luke has Yoda's lightsaber here in this scene, I can only imagine it was a retcon, or I'll make a separate video maybe discussing things further. We have definitely not seen Yoda's lightsaber ever since it was lost in the Senate chambers. It is puzzling to me, but Luke will not continue Grogu's training until he makes a choice. If he takes Mando's gift, then Grogu will show that he wishes to return to Din Djarin. If he takes Yoda's lightsaber, then this is a token of him showing he wants to continue to become a powerful Jedi, just as Luke told him. I knew this was going to happen because immediately after this, we cut to Grogu's face. He literally is looking at the camera, asking us, what should I choose? He has no idea what he will do next, and this is when the credits roll. If you guys want to know my opinion, I actually know exactly what Grogu is going to do next, but I'm going to leave it for a separate video because this video just turned into 30 or 40 minutes. I can't believe how long this video was, but you know why that is, because this episode was just filled with goodness, and you got to talk about every single thing and get excited for the finale. Next week is the finale of the Book of Boba Fett, episode 7. I hope we get to see more Boba Fett, but at this point, I don't really know what's happening. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, though, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies, Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.